Hello and welcome to the Heart of the Matter. My name is Abisoye.
And I'm Omotayo.
And we're here with Mr. Wale Ayilara. He is a very passionate entrepreneur, now in real estate, and he was a panelist at the Do It Afraid conference, Endless Ocean. And we're talking about endless ocean of wealth and opportunities in Nigeria. So we know now you're in real estate, but you shared a lot about all the different businesses you've had prior to that.
At the conference.
Yes.
Such an amazing story. He kept everyone kind of like laughing over and over and over again. So we know that there are lots of tidbits there's a lot that the people who see you have no idea about. You started business really young and you had a lot of failures. But when people see you now, all they see is, this guy, overnight, sharp. But you were saying, no, it's not an overnight journey. Please, can you give us that long journey?
Okay. Well, the journey started, I think 2007. I think even way before 2007. It pretty started when I finished secondary school, and I was restless, so I didn't pass my O level. So I needed to retake, and I didn't want to retake in that town. I'm from Abeokuta, so I needed to talk my parents into bringing me to Lagos to start.
Why didn't you want to take it from me?
I mean, I finished school there, and because I finished from a public secondary school, you have to go back to SS2, and then so pretty much a town that was once a senior. I didn't want that to happen. Yeah, so and I had to come to a private school in Lagos and then retake my. I think that was the turning point, because then I had access to new information, books, new knowledge. I think books really helped me because the person I was staying with at that time, I would, when it's going out, he would remove the cutout, I think the electric switch, and then I would be forced to either read Ababio, Keke, all those science books, or just, and he has a study in his house, so I just enter the study and then pick books. So I never knew that something was changing in my mind, and then plus the fact that I was very restless, I wanted to do something. And I guess the motivation for me was that I wanted to own my own car at a very early age. So, and I was just planning in my head, cooking up plans on how to get the car and all that. And I started with a coaching center. So I didn't have my own level, and I started the coaching center.
But I remember when you shared that at the conference, you were like, you have built your own. And then you went to
so, and that was it for me, and that worked for maybe about a month, and then it didn't work out again. Then after that, I started a music group, and then we'll go all out and then sing in bands and all that. They'll give us money, and then we started our old concert. It was good enough, and then from there, I gained admission for P degree into school, and I had to focus for that time because you are still not a full-time student. You're still into, so and that was it for me. And by the time I finished my P degree, and then I wanted to continue the music group, and that didn't work out. Then again, I started attending conferences in Lagos. So I would leave school, come to Lagos for conferences, platform.
What school were you in?
I was in Taishola University of Education. So I would go to platform, go to different programs like that in Lagos and all that. I would go to Daystar, Megastar conference and all, all those conferences and all that. Even sometimes I would use my allowance, my feeding allowance, and I would go there and all that. Then I went to one, I think it was at the platform, and I picked a booklet. I think it was a booklet full of adverts and all that. I said to myself, I can actually do this. If this guy can do this, I can do it. So I started talking to businesses to place their ad. It was a very ridiculous journey. So, and then people said, no, I will check. And then just walk into any store and tell them that I can put your ads in this booklet and all that. Some of them would look at me and what's wrong with you? So then from there, I got a yes from somebody that didn't actually pay me, but gave me a promise that, okay, when it's out, I will pay you. So then that was good enough for me to go. So I got a graphics guy. I slept in his office in Mushin. We designed all through the night and all that. It was only one guy, but I had to slot in other business. I created the cleaning services business. They just slotted everybody I know. I just put their business there, and then we printed about 1,000 copies. We started sharing it, and then business started, and people started calling. They want to put their heart there. We did that for a while, and then the thing crumbled again. But from my relationship with business people in that town, I got to know that a lot of them really, their business is not doing well, so they needed information and all. So I started the Abeokuta Business Development Conference, and that was in 2009. It was good, and the Commissioner for Commerce and Industry was there. Everybody in that town it was a free.
Were you still in uni?
Of course, I was in the uni.
Wow.
And ASU strike was very helpful for me. ASU strike was very helpful. For me, it was always a blessing. For me, ASU strike was, once I hear there will be strike, I'm off school and all that. So I had that time to do a lot of things, and then by 2000, I did the Business Development Conference at Abeokuta 2009, 10, 11, and by 2010, I was supposed to go for my IT. It was 200 level to 300 level, so I was supposed to go for my IT, and I did my IT somewhere in Lagos. And by the time I was done with my IT, it was just for a while. It was just about maybe less than 3 months. And so, I was busy and really so like me that it was like, you can think of a business to do. There's a concert in Lagos called The Experience and all that. There's a lot of people. That's why I started thinking, I said, a lot of people, 500,000 people in one night. I can cook up a business and all that. I can sell food there. And okay, people will sell jollof rice, fried rice. Okay, can I sell a father rice? And that was it for me. Then, I started cooking up the idea and all that. And then I bought drinks, and so me and my friend, I was able to talk one of my friends into it. So she put in the money also, and I put money together, and they went to cater for about 50,000 people thereabout or something, or 5,000 people. I can't remember.
So you had to buy all the
stuff.
So
we bought a whole cow. We bought about 2 cows or something. We bought. I mean, it was big. We got a stand, and it was a disaster. It was a total disaster. So we lost all the money in one night. Nobody was buying the food and all that, and the food got spoiled. By the morning, it was a total disaster. And then I had a lot of commentators. You should have done it like this. You should have done it like this. And that's something about failure. People want to tell you how you should do things and all that.
After you've done it.
So then I resumed school. Back pretty much after the whole thing has failed. So I was back in school. But by the time I was back in school, before, I was on and off because I was always running my business in Abeokuta or Lagos and all. I was on and off. So that time I just stayed fully in school, no traveling. I started, engaging students. Like, these guys really don't have the same knowledge that I have. They're just about school, after school.
Yeah.
They were just they could do so much with the time that they have, but they're doing so little, thinking that they're doing much with the time they have. So for me, I was like, there is more to this thing than because I've seen people focus so much on that school, and at the end of the day, is that they don't use the certificate, or they don't even get something substantial to do with the certificate, and it pretty much doesn't mean so much to so many people. So I was, I'll talk to students, and I started the Beyond School Initiative on campus. And by the time I finished, it was the largest organization on that campus, record still unbeaten.
What was the Beyond School?
The Beyond School Initiative was just an organization to gather students. So I'll talk to them every Monday evening. Crowd will come, 500, 300. I'll just talk to them about life generally, about what I'm learning from the books I'm reading. Because I had a library. I had a very big library. Then I got a business lounge on campus. It was very big, so fellowships will rent it. There's also cafeteria. Then I pay students per hour, 100 naira per hour. If they don't have lectures, how it just it for me.
Did you build it? Sorry, I'm just looking.
No. We leased.
Okay.
So I leased. So I use my school fees to lease
the business.
Yeah. Okay, so then we'll bring speakers. So we'll organize conference, and then speakers will come. I'll charge. So I do t-shirt. People will buy and all that. So that was just it for me. Then by the time I was done with school, I asked myself that, okay, so what's the next thing and all that. So I've always wanted to do business. Business is what I've always wanted to do. Even my parents did not agree, wanted me to do a 9 to 5. But I just knew that this is my own area. This is even at that time, I wasn't that too spiritual, but I was always a church boy, you know, I'll go to church and all that. Even all through school, I was part of, you know, and for me, it was just so strong that nobody can actually convince me otherwise, even when things were not working. So I knew that this is something about my life that I wanted to do. This is something so strong in my spirit, not only physically, and it was so strong in my spirit. So, and by the time I finished school, and I started, I went back to Abeokuta and I started a vocational school. So I called it Kickstart Academy for people to learn several vocational skills. So shoemaking, hairdressing, photography. It was the biggest in that town. You know, then we started training NYC core members and all that, and then you know they would come. I was training in hundreds of, so I was pretty much making money and all that. You know.
Oh well, I'll let you go on. But it's just really amazing. I feel like the mind of what I'll call a serial entrepreneur is it's just so different from everyone else, and the fact that you're always seeing opportunities in everything. And I feel like even sometimes as creative people, it's like, oh, I have this talent. How do I make business out of this? But even if you didn't pass your O-levels, or you don't have this talent, you're bringing people together, you're seeing those opportunities. So moving forward, I think I also want to hear more specifically about those failures, why I say, oh, and it didn't work and I moved on. What were those failures?
You know, also, for me, there's a different perspective I have to failure. I don't know how I come about that, but I have just different perspective to failure. Failure for me, yes, it it can affect, because I've once written a suicide note before, but I actually can't imagine myself dying. So you can write the notes, but I'm not the extreme. You know, when I had so much failures, and then what was painful was that everybody lost the faith in me. You know, when people just look at them like it's like everything you touch practically fails. So you know, friends, relatives, and when you are the subject matter of every discussion, like when is your turn, the prayer point is always long. So you know that people have been, you know, and it was that for me. You know, people just look at me and say, see, guy, what you are trying to, like, it can't work. So you need to just wake up and then go and get a job. So for me, it wasn't that. It was just that I wanted to exercise every idea I think of. And it got to a point that by 2010, 11, I started owing people. You know, you just borrow money for the next idea, and then that idea won't work, so you have that person on your neck, and you're trying to come up with another idea to just solve that, you know, and that one too won't work, so you're, you know, piling up chains of, and at the long run, that will now become a motivation and a drive, because you want to get out of that hole. So you are creating the next idea, it's not working, you're trying another one, thinking that, okay, that one will make you blow, you know, press calculate and say, okay, this will sort me out and all that, and then just keep trying. Then I was trying until 2016, I said to myself that I think I'm done trying, I'm done trying. So at the point in, I think 2015, I was so hungry at God, I'm like, because before the next idea, you pray. I know about, praying and all that. I can pray at stretch, tongue stroke, all those things. I did all those things in school. 2014-15 was the worst year of my life. So 2016, ending of 2015, I was so tired. I lost everything. I was practically owing everybody I know. All these things, I face terrible things. Landlord sending you out, you not being able to eat for like 2 days and all that. And then, everything, practically everything. So for me,
what you're saying is like, what comes to my mind is the Bible verse that says, when you go through things, the grace that you get, give it to others when they are going through that. Let's just go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the rest of the story. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
I could feel myself falling, like saying, bro, you're falling. Wow, you're falling. This guy, you are actually falling down, oh. This stuff that you see on TV is happening to you. God is real.
Who are you?
Why are you black?
Welcome to the heart of the matter.
The whole world was looking for me. She called me, she's like, oh my God, Ines, it's called that brought you back. And I just dropped to the floor.
I'm going to dive right into the heart of the matter.
What are your thoughts on Canada?
My thoughts on Canada?
Yeah.
Real random.
I'm really so excited today.
Just a tad. Very passionate about leveling the playing field. Listening is not the only aspect of communication.
I believe that the solution is from the bottom up. If you don't talk now, you talk later.
There's glory. There's glory.
So let's break it down.
You can advertise your businesses, brands, and events on the Heart of the Matter. For more information, please send an email to hotmpr@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Heart of the Matter. We're back with Mr. Wale Ayilara, sharing about just some amazing stories about his life as an entrepreneur. And I think just touching on the idea of not seeing your failures as failures, and also just it might seem rosy, but it's really not. And then being able to relate to other people's stories.
Yeah.
So can you share more about that in your growth to what you're doing now as well?
Yeah, so I said something at the Do It Afraid conference that one thing about failure is that experience, your failure increase your experience and experience reduce your mistakes. So mistakes increase your experience and experience reduce your mistakes.
Okay.
So you just ask yourself that, what do I need to learn from this? What is the lesson from this? So that was what happened for me in 2015, end of 2015. I asked myself that, what do I need to learn from all these failures? And from that, I discovered that one of the things I need to learn from all these failures is that every idea, I jump into them. As it's coming, I just jump in. As it's coming, I jump in. And I learned strongly about the place of research in anything you want to do. And also understanding that sometimes you can be passionate about it, does not mean that it's economically viable. Does not mean that it will bring you money. So and I asked myself, well, Wale, really, what do you want now? What is it you want now? I can be passionate about it, but can it survive me economically? And I got myself to that point. I started asking that, okay, number one, you're a sharp guy. You're intelligent, but you are in the wrong location. Not that the location is wrong, but for me, for what I wanted to do, it was the wrong location. So I said to myself that I'm going to move to Lagos. And moved to Lagos, and I also started researching about where everybody's money is going. That was my research. That when you have money, how do you spend it? And I wanted my share of everybody's money, at least. So my research was to check the top 10 industry that has everybody's money, and then pick any one of it and pick any one of the value chain. So for me, real estate was one of it. There are many other things that are part of it: transportation, health, education, food, entertainment, fashion. So mine was, real estate. For how I decided on the real estate, I think that is the place of God. Because what Landway is today, they are part of Landway that I can't really explain based on the opportunity that God brought my way and how God was able to strengthen my heart to be able to harness those opportunities.
In the last segment, you had talked about how you were a church boy, you were always praying, and then you went through all these things. And then now you're talking about how you don't even know how you ended up with real estate, but clearly it was God. So it's almost like, I think it's one of the things that's very hard for us to think of, that God can be happy with us even when we think we're failing. Like it may be, okay, go and learn this. Go and learn this. I mean, even Jesus had to die. But what I feel like is like, one of the other panelists, Nere Teriba, she was talking to me beforehand about how God led her to start a fashion business. And now she's doing something completely different. And she said to God, but why am I doing this? And God said to her, why did I spend all my money doing this? And God said to her, you paid for the knowledge that you got.
I think I agree with that, because sometimes when it seems as if we're going through tough times, sometimes they are not really tough time. It is later on you understand that they are not really tough time. Maybe you are just in the school of hard knocks, what people call it as school of hard knocks. So you are just there to learn some certain things. Because part of the things I know now and the way I operate now are lessons that has formed an integral part of my life from all those past experiences. So I've been able to pick, there are certain shock absorbers that I have now. There are certain belief and faith that I have now, you know, that I anchor on those past experiences. So I think for me, all those past experiences were no waste of time at all. It was part of the design. It was part of what I needed to go through. But also, what I ask myself is that, yeah, people also go through these phases and they never escape from it. So my submission is that sometimes we need to understand what God is saying per time. And because if we miss that, what God is saying per time, and then where God wants you to be per time, and then the opportunities God wants you to do per time, I think that's the most sensitive part of it. Because people actually go through things and they never, and they don't come out of it.
Allowing it for a time, but once
Yeah.
you said move out, because if you
He says
stay
joy
there-
comes in the morning now. So he didn't say joy will not come. He didn't say you, so it's night forever. So you must understand when that morning is.
Yeah, so I just feel like a lot of these opportunities are definitely God-given opportunities, and just with timing and season, coming in at the very right time. But you also need to be able to grasp that, whatever that opportunity is. And specifically with real estate and land and what you do, I want to hear more about that. But also, I feel like we're at a time in Lagos where the real estate market is, I mean, as an architect myself, I know it's like, there's just so much going on with that. So can you talk more about what you do at Landware and also what those opportunities you found in real estate?
You know, when we started Landway, when I say, you know, it was for me, because my belief is that any industry that you're entering, if you're entering it and you are doing the same thing, nobody will know you.
Yeah.
But when you enter any industry and your entry strategy is advancing what is already going on, or disrupting what is already going on by creating something entirely new. Look for a dissatisfied customer, look for general complaints, look for all those things, and then build your strength in that area, and then things will work. So for us, that was what we started doing first. We started thinking of advancing the industry, advancing we started with land sales, and then that was what we started with. But before that, you know, people just put billboard. They sell forest, they just put the signage, they don't allocate the plots to these people, and also they sell lands with no title document at all, and then people buy out of ignorance, and that over time built up a bad narrative for the real estate industry. I bought land, I can't find it again, and all that, all those kind of things. So for us, it was part of our research first that, okay, if we need to solve all these things. So any property we're buying, titled land, and then we establish presence instantly by starting infrastructure and all that, and allocation time almost instant. So that was what we started with, and then, you know, people started, you know, and then also for us, agent education was very key to us, because agent education, you know, before when somebody tell you that I'm a real estate agent, what they do is just to share flyer and all that, so they can work from morning till night sharing flyers and all that, and it doesn't really communicate. So we started training them on how to, and there's the power of social media and all that to market, and so we started agent education, and until date we are still one of the biggest on that, educating realtors on how they can broker their deals, relate with their clients. So we brought in a lot of exposure for these people, and then we also brought in a lot of not only exposure, we made the industry very interesting for them by incentive. We started taking them abroad, sending them for courses and all that, training them back to back, you know, just opening them up to a new form of information and how they can do their business better. And then for us, that is empowerment, because a lot of them have been able to really scale. We have people who are getting about over 5 million in commission per month and all that, brokering great deals. So for us at Landway, apart from land sales, so what we do is site and service first. We buy land, and then we develop the infrastructures, and then we allocate to people, we sell plot by plot, and people can build based on the guidelines that we have for that estate. And then, but we are also into residential development now. So we develop from 1 bedroom to the apartment and all that. We are not really very strong on or what a lot of people call affordable housing and all that. Personally, I really don't believe in affordability. If it's affordable, it might not last. So because people hide under that disguise.
Right.
And we've seen a lot of developments on the island, very, you buy into the property and then you're spending money on renovation, you're spending money on, and you eventually leave the house and it doesn't have a second-hand value for you to resell. So we've seen a lot of people hide under that disguise. Oh, it's cheap, it's cheap. If it's cheap, it's going to cost you something. So when it comes to construction, it has to be done right. It has to be functional. It has to. I've seen development that the bedroom is nothing to write on, but actually people don't really care like that. But at the same time, we don't compete on price. We compete on value. So for us, it's more about that, because if it's cheap, it's gonna cost you.
Yeah.
So.
We've actually run out of time, because I feel like you're about to ask another question. We've run out of time so much. So much, I don't even know what to say next. But one thing that I'm getting, that I think I'm getting from everything I've said, is beyond the ability to just sell, there is a consistent thread of teaching and training.
Yeah, training.
From your hustles in school up until now. And I remember at the Do It Afraid conference, you said something like, if people don't get to like the 10th page of Google, they have not done your research. And when you talked about how that moment of transition for you was when you realized that you jump into things without the research. So it's that information, that studying, that learning that seems to be, it's almost as if you're a teacher who God has put in real estate as your sample, as your case study. That's kind of
like exactly for me like this, that the Bible says that be transformed by the renewal of your mind. So how can your mind be renewed? Your mind is like your software, it's like your operating system. So there can be that renewal if people don't encounter new information. So for me, I think I'm very strong on personal development, and how can you develop yourself personally is basically by, of course, encountering new information. I believe that 3 things can change a man: information, environment, and association. So for me, these 3 key things are very key. Environment and association. So, and even the Bible will tell you all those things. All those things. Iron sharpened iron. It's talking about association and all that. So location is extremely very key also. A place you find yourself, the Bible says, I do not disguise the garden of repentance. So you have to be in a place that you can be inspired. So for me, I find that very...
I think that's a summary of a lot of what I got. Just add on to that, I picked up the same thing of you, like throughout everything you mentioned, there's always something about training people. And just to add on to what you said, I think it's just so important to invest in people. I feel like there's so much value in that people don't see. So in any way, people in some form are willing to invest in themselves. And I feel like for entrepreneurs watching, that is something they can pick up on. How much are you investing in the people around you?
Okay, as we round up, how can people reach you if they want to tap into your knowledge, your work, your real estate?
Yeah, I host a lot of meetings and all that, but I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. I use that medium to just send out messages to people. So it's Olawale Ayilara on Instagram, at Olawale Ayilara. So that's pretty much simple. So people can DM, I try as much as well to go through it once in a week and all that. To respond on messages that make sense.
We've gone so much from this. It's like a free seminar, free workshop. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem at all.
Thank you. All right, that's it for today's episode of The Heart of the Matter. Please follow us on social media. Let us know what you think. Contact Mr. Wale Ayilara. Let us know how you feel about this episode and what you learned. We're on Instagram and Facebook at HOTM TV, and we are on YouTube at HOTM channel. See you next time.